Hi YouTube. Right, I've come up with an idea now. I've been inspired by someone called Alistair Humphrey, and he is a guy that's got a website, and he does videos much better than mine, by the way. And these videos are all about having micro adventures, or that's what I want to do tonight. So I've come up with this idea. And I'm going to go and spend a night in the woods. Now the idea is that you don't have to go on these big old expeditions and things like that. You can have little adventures at home. So I thought what would be good, which I haven't done before, is to spend a night in a hammock in the trees. One problem with that is that I don't have a hammock, but I've made one out of my tarp, ironically enough, DD hammock tarp, which is all good. I've made it and it seems okay, although I've never slept in a hammock before, so I don't actually know. But it's going to rain tonight probably, and because I've made a hammock out of my tarp, I haven't got a tarp. So I've brought with me a load of other stuff, so I've got my bivvy bag, so I might end up sleeping in that instead. But we're going to give it a whirl, and I've got a few bits and pieces. I brought a brew kit with me, so we can have a go. But yeah, the guy's called Alistair Humphrey. Check out, just type in micro adventures on YouTube or Google it, and you'll come up with his site, and that'll give you more info about just doing stuff during the week or whatever, just getting out there and doing it. But it's all a bit of an experiment. Like I say, I've not used a hammock before, so whether it'll fall out of the tree or not, I don't know. But if it does rain, I'm going to end up being a ground dweller again. But back to you soon. Okay guys, now I'm sure you can't see very much at all. Let me just I've got my head torch as well. So this is where I've come to camp. Now this is a little area in a wood, which is quite young, although the trees, let me just come around it, whether you can see, but this is going to be my hammock, which is my 3x3 metre tarp, and I've whipped the ends, which means wrapping paracord over. I folded it in a certain way, but you can check that out on the internet. Don't look at my suspension because it's not right, I know, but it's going to do for the time being. And I've hung it between two oak trees. Now they're young oak trees. This is quite a new part of the wood, and the reason I've done that is because from the little I know about sleeping in woodland, is you don't want to be sleeping underneath what they call widowmakers, which are old trees with big heavy branches that are likely to drop on your head during the night. These are young oak trees, so I'm pretty safe there. The only thing I'm going to get dropped on my head are going to be leaves, hopefully, and hopefully not rain. This little part of the wood isn't run by the Forestry Commission, which is unusual for this particular wood. It's owned by the parish, so I'm not going to get disturbed, I'm sure. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to put I've got thermarest to put in my hammock, and I've got another foam pad and the backrest of my rucksack, so I'll spread them all out so it doesn't matter if I jiffle about in the night. Sleeping bag in, obviously, and then don't know quite what to do with the Gore-Tex bivvy bag that I've got, because it's obviously going to be difficult to get into that when you're in your hammock, so whether I'll just lay it over me to begin with and see if the weather changes. Because my hammock has been folded in half before folding it into a hammock and then whipping it, I could potentially get between the two layers and drape the waterproof tarp over me. Don't really want to do that if I can help it, because of course it's not breathable and it's not going to give great protection. But what I'm worried about is if it does really start to rain, having a waterproof hammock is basically going to be like a great big bucket, so it'll just collect rain, and in the end I'll just be sitting in a small bath. So I don't know, but it's all a bit of experimentation. I've got my brew kit, so I'm now going to have a little sit back, because obviously with a hammock suspended you can just sit in it as well, have a little brew and then think about it. So see you in a bit. Layers of my tarp slash hammock. I've put my thermarest and I've put the padding out of my rucksack, and it's going to work, I think. Even if I get a little bit of rain, I think we're going to be okay. But first impressions of this hammock lark are pretty good. I've managed to suspend my rucksack off one end out of the way. Hang on, the water's boiling. No, not yet. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Yeah, first impressions. So yeah, like I said, I've managed to hang my rucksack off the ground, so that's quite nice. Saves you getting it all mucky and dirty and wet and nasty like you would in a ground tent, because the ground tents I use are so small that you can't really get your rucksack in while you're moving about. Yeah, we'll see. But it's, what I have realised, and I hadn't considered it before, is the leaves above me are really wet. So every time I move about in this hammock, I shake the tree a little bit, and water comes down. Should have thought of that, really. Never mind. I'm sure it'll be okay. So, time for my cup of tea. Right. Well, I'm in. What I've done is I've got between the layers, and I'm in my sleeping bag, and I've got my bivvy bag over as well, and then I've got all this spare material that I'll wrap around. It's ever so cosy and pretty comfy too. Now you're supposed to sleep on the diagonal in these, and it makes it a little bit more flat. So I'm told. Now I haven't done that. My mats are all underneath me. I've tried to spread them out as much as I can, but I'm pretty cosy, to be honest. I'm quite comfortable. So unless something changes during the night, I think I'll stay as I am. Now, strangely enough, I'm lying here in this wood and I've got a mobile phone signal, so I'm going to check my emails, which is a bit of a bizarre thing to do considering I'm hanging from trees in a wood, but that is technology for you, I suppose. There's no escape from it. Yeah, it has just started. There was a little bit of drizzle coming, which is why I thought I'd get myself sorted and get into the hammock early. Once I'd finished my tea, I've stowed everything away and I've suspended that in a dry bag, so that'll be ready for the morning. And I've got a couple more drinks with me. I've got enough water, but I'm not stopping for very long in the morning. I'm going to get home and then probably dry everything out, I would imagine. But I'll have a little chill back here for a little while, and then I might just try and get over on the diagonal, because it makes you sleep a bit more flat. At the minute my feet are above my head, which is comfortable for now, but if you're supposed to go on a diagonal, I might have a try. If this works, I think what I might do, I might either look at buying a proper hammock. I've seen some really good ones, quite cheap, like 10th Wonder, UK hammocks, and people like that. DD obviously make hammocks, so I'll see what I want. But I think a bug net would be a good idea, a zip-in bug net, so it's a bit more tent-like, and obviously I'd then free up this back as my tarp, and I'd have a really big shelter. It won't be as lightweight as a ground tent, I'm sure, because I'll use a bit more space and a bit more weight, but if it proves comfortable like it is at the minute, then why not stick with it? Obviously you can't really use hammocks on traditional campsites because they don't have trees, do they? But for coming out in the wilds, that'll work quite well. The only trouble is that I know that my daughter is desperately going to want to come out and experience it as well, so she'll probably end up in the hammock and I'll end up on the ground again, but that's all good fun. I'll report back during the night, if I get woken up, that is. Of course I might sleep sound until the morning, let's hope so. Well, morning. Call that light's bright. Well, I made it. really comfortable actually. I even got too hot. It didn't rain, fortunately, so I didn't have to worry about that. But because I wrapped myself up in a bit of a cocoon, there's quite a lot of condensation on the actual tarp, but obviously my Gore-Tex has kept my bag protected. I even had to unzip my sleeping bag because I was getting too hot. Had to get up in the night for the loo, which isn't easy when you're in a bivvy bag, so that's something to bear in mind. But ever so comfortable. I've been lying in here for hours now, 8 hours, and it's super comfortable. It's really proper luxury. So I think I'll do it again. Yeah, really nice. It's still dark. It's 6:30 now, so I was waiting for it to get a bit lighter, but obviously the nights are really drawing in. So I'll get up and have a coffee, I think, and then if it gets a bit lighter, I'll maybe show you the setup. Okay, so I'm a little more sorted. I've got my coffee. Got my coffee here, so that's nice. So this is my micro adventure. Now, Alistair Humphreys. He's the guy that inspired me to do this. He's a proper adventurer. He's cycled around the world. He's done all sorts. And the idea he came up with is that you don't have to go on safari. You don't have to go climbing the Himalayas. In the UK, you can do a micro adventure. You can get out there and have some fun. So he set a challenge. You knock off work at 5. And then you go off and do something, and you spend the night on a hill, you spend the night doing something, and then you can strike camp and get back in time for work the following day. That's the general idea, micro-adventure, just Google it. Now, so I thought I've never slept in a hammock, so I'll give it a go. That's worked out quite well. I think I will probably do a trip in my canoe and spend the night out. Maybe not this year, maybe do that next year. But as far as going to hammocks, I might invest in a hammock because it's been ever so comfortable. That might be something I want to get into. But it's been really nice. Now I'm still in my bivvy because it's still dripping on me. It's been ever so comfortable and a good bit of fun. But I'm toasty warm. I've got my coffee, powdered coffee of course, so that's going to warm me up, and then I'll strike camp and head for home. Hopefully the sun will come up. It's gone 6:30. I thought it would be light by now, but still the nights are drawing in, I suppose, so hey ho. Anyway, I think it's been quite a nice night actually. I've been so comfortable in this hammock. It's not even a proper hammock, it's just something I tied up together myself. And you can sit back like I am now. I've got my stove and gear all out there, so I've made myself quite comfortable, but if I had a tarp over me it'd be really nice. And I would have liked to have lit a fire, but it's just so wet I couldn't be bothered to mess around with all that. And I was kind of going a little bit stealth as well, a bit stealth camping. Sorry, that's my lens cap. So, yeah, all good. I'll see you again soon. I thought I'd just show you what I've been sleeping in. Obviously this is my Gore-Tex bivvy and sleeping bag, but inside my hammock I've got an old thermarest, which is here, which you don't inflate very much, otherwise it's too stiff and it doesn't fit in very well. This pad here is really thin. It's a folding pad. Apparently it's German army army surplus, and that filled up as well. And then in the corners, to give my elbows and shoulders a bit, this is the back panel of my rucksack, which comes out, which again is just another thin pad, and I put that cross widthways in here, and that just gave me a bit of warmth on my shoulders, and it worked really well. As you can see, everything's got wet, so I'm glad I had my bivvy bag. There's only a little bit of dampness, and a lot of it's condensation from because I used these and I covered myself up a little bit, just leaving a little gap for my face, so a lot of it's condensation. But as you can see, my bivvy bag took the brunt of any drips, so I'm glad I brought that with me. Again, I brought that just in case I ended up sleeping on the floor. If I was going to do, I'd have to set it up underneath my hammock, so the hammock made a bit of a tarp. But it's ever so comfortable. Let me just step back and you can see if it will show up. Okay, so this is the bit of woodland that I stayed in. Finally see it in the daylight. Now I have between that tree, I hung my hammock between that tree and that tree. I hope you can see that alright. But yeah, it's just a young area full of young oak, and there's a few birch and bits and pieces. I think there's a little beech tree and things. So it's quite nice. The helicopter you can hear, I'm quite near an airport that services the gas rigs. So that's what you can hear flying over. They start at first light. So yeah, it's nice.